Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to look at the CN models, their new F5J sensor. We're going to look at the center panel, or half the center panel, I should say. We have one right here, and this is exactly how it comes from CN if you choose to get the version with the IDS already installed. This one has the IDS installed, but no servo installed. So here it is. Again, this is a two-piece center panel, so the whole airplane is a four-piece wing, which makes it really easy for transport purposes. You see the IDS horn in the surface there. Have the wing mounting locations. They're recessed. This is the root, so this is where the fuselage goes. And there's even some carbon alignment pins in there. And then we have the joiner pocket right here, and there's a multiplex plug. And the wiring's already installed. So we have the wiring here for the flap servo, and then at the other side we have a servo connector embedded in the tip right there, and then joiner pocket for the tip joiners. So let's weigh this and see what it weighs. 202 grams for this half of the center panel. So it looks like the entire thing would be a little over 400, but there is also a joiner, pretty big wing joiner. Very nice finish. And I did test fit it. It fits. It's pretty tight, so it goes in. But I think I'm going to sand this with a little bit of 800 grit sandpaper and polish it again to try to get a little easier fit. And that joiner weighs 17 grams. Okay, so like I said, this is how it comes with the servo ROM and IDS installed. Something interesting with this is that typically we'd see the servo hub or arm in the rearward position, and this one, or I would say, the front position, so closer to the leading edge. And this one's in the rear position. And I'm not so sure about the geometry on this, because if I move the flap to full down, that's kind of where the servo horn ends up. And I don't think that's ideal. That's going to put a little more strain on your servo. I like to see this arm almost laying down flat when the flap is fully down 90 degrees. But I'm sure it works, or otherwise they wouldn't do it like this. But we'll have to wait and see, till we fly the model. But several of these have already flying all over the world, and I haven't heard any problems yet. But we'll see what happens. They did a really clean job installing this IDS tray, and I have one here. I have the other half, or the other side of the wing that I've already done. And that's X08H Plus servo that I've installed for my customer. Pretty easy. So really that's about all the work you need to do on the center panel, is just get your servo in. Let's go ahead and install that X08 Plus servo on this side. So let's get going on the center panel of the sensor here. We're going to start installing the servo, which is a KST X08H Plus, which is like an X08H but with a bigger motor, so it's got a lot more torque. And it fits in a regular X08H frame, except the motor obviously extends out further, so there's a little bit of work we got to do there. So I've prepped this. I've shortened the lead to about 30 millimeters, or maybe 2 inches or 2.5 inches, and I have opened up the holes here and here to accept those 1.7 millimeter screws I'm using. Same screws we used on the tip panels. And I have also put a chamfer right here on the frames on these edges with a little file like this. Again, that's only because in the servo there's a radius right here. So if I just left this square, the servo wouldn't seat down all the way. Alright, so after that, what I did was I took a just an X-Acto knife and I removed a little bit of foam in this area. I just made a 1 cut, 2 cut, 3 cut, 4 cuts. Don't go through the top surface. Be really careful. And then I just used some like tweezers like this and just plucked out a bit of foam. And I did that because we need to be able to get this big long motor in here, so when we put the servo in, it has to be able to slide back and then slide forward to get that IDS hub. Okay, so next thing, we're going to just see if we can get the servo actually in that IDS hub. So I have a servo tester here. Let me take the servo out first. So I'm basically going to move the servo to full down flap deflection. And then what I'm going to do is put it in the tray. I'm going to grab the flap. Zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to deflect the flap to full down. And I'm going to rock it back and forth a little bit and see if we can't get that hub to engage. There we go. It took a little bit of wiggling, but it actually went in pretty easy. While it's in there, we'll just test the deflection. Servo's not screwed down yet. Plenty of throws. Plenty of up ailer, up flap, and 90 degrees of down flap. Just happy with that. Then we can go ahead and screw the servo in. And I try to get both screws in before I tighten them up, so I kind of put them in there about halfway and then kind of go back and forth. Looks good to me. Servo's all screwed in and installed. Now all I'm going to do is connect these wires together. Make sure you do it the right way. Match up the black, red, and signal leads. And then I'm just going to take a small piece of electrical tape and wrap that connection just to protect it from coming apart and potential shorts, because there is some carbon around this area. Just go like that. There we go. Then we have to tuck it in here. So it's going to go something like this. And on the other side, I actually used a small piece of double-sided tape, and I think I'll do the same thing. This is some paper-thin double-sided tape, so it doesn't really have any thickness. And all I'll do is just cut a small piece. Like this. And I'm just going to put this on the end of the servo right here. And then peel the backing off. And that should help us keep this connector nice and secure. Just like that. And just push these wires down. Looks good to me. Then we have our plastic servo cover, so I'll just test fit this. Fits good. Wipe some dust off the areas around. And then again, we have to peel the film off this. There's coatings on both sides. Then we have a clear servo cover. We'll put this in place. Then I'm using these pre-cut sticker vinyl things that came with the sensor, and they're pretty easy to use. I think it would have been nicer if these were black, actually. I think black would be a little more discreet, so we'll just try to center these as best we can. There we go. That's it. That's basically all the work that needs to be done. Really quick, I grabbed the joiner, and let's just see how this goes together. Slightly tight on the fit of the joiner. I am going to polish that a little bit and make it a little easier. There we go. There's the complete center panel. Very nice. So again, that's basically all the work you need to do. These bolt down to the fuselage in 4 locations, so these screws hold the center joint together, and over on the tips, it's just a standard joiner, servo connector, and then you use tape. So what I'm going to do is put some clear packing tape on these areas here, just to protect the finish of the wing when you use your other tape to secure the tip panel to the center panel. But I think I'll save that for a later video. We are all done here with this center panel. I will get a scale, and just for fun, let's weigh this completed center panel, see what we get. This is not the most accurate scale in the world, but it'll give us a good idea. $445 grams. Or 445. Again, that's a completed center panel with both servos and the joiner and all the wiring installed. Alright guys, that's about it for this center panel video. I hope you guys found it informative. Maybe some of you guys are thinking about building and flying a sensor. Maybe it'll help you out. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video when we start assembling the nose pod or the boom and getting the tails all done. Alright guys, I will see you in the next one.